Hi, and welcome back to the Hardline. I'm your host, Brent Nichols. This is your window on the martial arts. This week our interview is with Conrad Pla. He's a professional kickboxer, a second-degree black belt in karate, and he's the owner of TriStar Gym. Mr. Pla, welcome to the Hardline.
How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Tell us a little bit about TriStar Gym.
Well, TriStar Gym, we opened it about 3.5 years ago, and the idea behind it is we have a whole range of martial arts, ranging from the traditional arts, karate, aikido, jiu-jitsu, judo, as well as the more recent, more modern arts like the boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing. We also have full weight training and bodybuilding facilities, as well as cardiovascular equipment. So you get pretty well everything under one roof. Mm-hmm. The reason we decided to open a gym of this type was at the time I was doing karate in one place, I was boxing in another place, doing weight training in another place, and several of my friends were doing the same thing, so we decided to open up a martial arts center that had a little bit of everything. Basically, a person can sign up for one of the arts and then have access to the gym 7 days a week. They can come do weights on other days, use the cardio equipment, things like that.
Mm-hmm. So how many different instructors do you have then?
Well, let's see if I don't forget anybody. We have karate instructor, aikido instructor, a jiu-jitsu instructor, a judo instructor. We have a boxing teacher, a kickboxing instructor, which is myself, a Thai boxing instructor. We also have Tai Chi.
Okay.
We also have two martial arts that are quite special. They consist of weapons. One is kendo, which is a traditional Japanese sword fighting, and the other is iaido, which is an art that is basically the drawing of the sword. So they draw and do one or two cuts. Those are a little bit less popular, not as mainstream, but they're quite interesting.
Can someone come down and take a sample class of kendo?
Yeah, for any of the arts, we allow one free lesson, so they can come in, try a lesson, see if they like it, see if it's for them. As a matter of fact, I recommend that for people who are going to sign up. A lot of people have kind of a media view of the martial arts. They'll come in and ask for a Steven Seagal art or a Jean-Claude Van Damme art. And I recommend that they watch a class or try a class first so that they know what they're getting into.
So tell me how you got started in kickboxing.
When I was about 14, a friend dragged me to a karate school, and I kind of liked what I saw, and I got started in the karate. And I did it competitively for a good 5-6 years. And then it started getting a little bit mundane. I was fighting the same guys at the same tournaments, and I wanted something a little bit more competitive. I'd seen kickboxing on television, and it looked similar to what I was doing, but a little bit sort of a souped-up version. So I went to a school on Ontario Street that was run by Victor Thériault, who's Jean-Yves Thériault's brother, and I got started with him. And 6 weeks later, I had my first fight, and I've been fighting regularly. Well, not that regularly, but I've been fighting ever since. So I've been doing fighting professionally for about 8 years now.
Now, what are some of the main differences between karate tournaments and kickboxing tournament fighting?
Well, the karate tournaments, the karate that I was doing, was a 2-minute fight. You wore protective equipment on your body and head, kind of like a helmet, and it was full contact. But they would stop. There were sort of bursts of energy. You'd fight for 15, 20 seconds, and they would stop and award points. The kickboxing, you're wearing gloves. You're not wearing any protective equipment on your body. And the fights last anywhere from 4 rounds up to 12 rounds for a world title fight. And there's no stoppage. You fight for 2 minutes straight, and then at the end of the round, there's a 1-minute break, similar to boxing, kind of the same setup as boxing. The judges then award points not on individual techniques, but on who dominated the round. If one guy sort of seemed to dominate and score the better techniques, he'll win the round. And they use a 10-point must system similar to boxing. They give 10 points to the winner of the round. If it's a tie round, they give 10 to the other opponent. If the person won by a little bit, it's 10-9. And if there's a knockdown, it's 10-8. And then they add up the points at the end of the fight and determine the winner if there's no knockout.
I see. Do you think kickboxing, as you've learned it, is street effective?
Well, I think kickboxing is limited in the sense that it's a ring sport. You're dealing with rules similar to boxing. I mean, there's no kicking or grabbing or clinching. So in that sense, I think there are arts that are better suited for the street, but it does get you used to getting hit. When you do kickboxing, you know how to throw a left hook and a right hand, and you're used to the contact and the conditioning. So I think it toughens you up a lot that way. I wouldn't hesitate to put a good fighter, a good kickboxer, in with anybody on the street. But I think that when you've done other arts or specialize in arts that deal more with street fighting, you're a little bit better adapted.
So I believe you fought recently in Karate Mania 6.
Yes, that's right. I had retired from kickboxing for about 2 years. I'd had some injuries I had to take care of, and I wasn't sure if I was going to continue professionally. And then I had an opportunity to fight on the Karate Mania 6, which was one of the biggest kickboxing shows ever. It was Jean-Yves Thériault against Rick the Jet Rufus as the main event. Dennis Alexio was also fighting on that show. I had a 4-round fight against a local fighter, Tommy Racine, who was also a professional boxer. And the fight went well. It was my first fight back, so I was a little bit nervous and tentative. But the fight went well. I knocked him out in the second round. And after that, I fought in the month of June in another show in Montreal. And it was a 7-round fight. It went to a decision, and I won a decision. It was a tough fight, that one.
What do you think is the biggest gain or the best thing you've gotten from tournament kickboxing?
I think there's one. A lot of people ask me why I do it or why I enjoy doing it, my wife included. And there's something you get out of the fighting, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, any kind of full contact fighting, that I don't think you can get in any other sport. It can be described as before the fight it's the worst feeling in the world, and after the fight it's the best feeling in the world. It's kind of puts your ass on the line. Can I say ass on?
Yeah.
Okay. You get very, very nervous because you're up in front of people in a situation where you can get knocked out and get hurt. So it's a really hard challenge. Other sports are challenging, but not in the same way. I mean, a tennis match is challenging. You might lose the tennis match, but you don't get your head beat in front of everybody. So there's a lot at stake, and that makes the sport more exciting when you're competing. It makes it, there's a lot more at risk.
So do you think you'll keep going with kickboxing?
Yes, I have a fight scheduled October 18th in Verdun Auditorium, and I'd like to have a little bit more activity. That's been one of my problems in my career, is I've been fighting 2 times a year, and that's just not enough to remain competitive. I need to be fighting 4, 5, 6 times a year and up. This will be my 3rd fight this year since I started back, and hopefully I'd like to get a couple more fights and then start fighting the top 10 guys, the Marek Petrowskis, the Rufuses, those type of guys.
Okay, we just have to go to a commercial break. Someone's gone to a lot of trouble to make these nice commercials, and I feel really bad if we don't play some in each and every show, so we're going to go to that, and we'll be right back. Hi, we're back with Conrad Pla, professional kickboxer, 2nd degree black belt in karate, and the owner of TriStar Gym. So what was it like making the transition from karate to kickboxing?
Well, the transition was surprising. The sports are similar, but they're still quite different. In kickboxing, you absolutely need to know how to box. If you don't know how to box, you won't last more than 2-3 rounds. The sport has evolved over the last 20 years, and at first when you would watch kickboxing fights from the 70s and 80s, you'd basically see martial artists with gloves on trying martial art techniques in a ring under this situation of a kickboxing fight. Right now, the fighters look a lot more like boxers, like polished boxers with kicks as well. The kicks are still very important, but A lot of the knockouts, still probably about 70-80% of the knockouts are with the hands. So the boxing is a must. That was my biggest challenge. When I started, I had no idea how to box, and it took several years to really get comfortable with the hands and learn the boxing techniques.
So is that do you see that as a real gap in karate? Are karate's...
No, I don't think it's a gap in the karate. Karate is designed, and this is what a lot of people forget, when they used to put a kickboxer or a boxer with a karate guy, and the karate guy would get his head taken off. The problem is that a karate fight is designed for the street. A karate fight is designed for a 20-second fight on the street with no gloves, no rules, just go. A kickboxing fight is not designed like that. It's designed with gloves on. It's more of a sport. If you take a karate guy out of his environment, put gloves on him, put him in a ring where he can't do a lot of the techniques that are effective in karate, you're basically turning him into a kickboxer with no kickboxing experience, which is kind of unfair. It's not the same sport. Karate is quite different from kickboxing.
I see. So what are the dynamics of a kickboxing match? When do you box and when do you kick?
Well, I think every fighter is different. Some people are stronger with their legs, so they're more powerful on the outside. Others are better punchers. They have to get inside to do the damage. My strategy is basically the first round to feel out the opponent, first and second round, not to take any big chances. A lot of times I haven't seen tape of the opponent. I don't know if he's left-handed, right-handed, so I have to sort of feel him out. First round, I'll try to establish my jab, keep my distance, throw some nice hard kicks to get the guy's respect, and sort of see what he's doing, how he moves, if he's coming forward all the time, if he's left-handed, right-handed. By the second, third round, then you start to take a little bit more chances. You'll throw, I guess, more dangerous things for yourself and for him, and try to open up the fight and make your opponent make mistakes and take chances as well. And a lot of times, my last fight, I looked for the knockout around the third, fourth round, but I was a bit flat that night. I saw that my opponent was tough. I couldn't put him out. So I basically coasted. I just scored points, moved around, and finished the fight that way. But I think every fighter is different. Every fighter has their own strategy and their own things that work for them.
So are both elements equally important then, kicking and boxing?
I think that depends on the fighter. I think overall, if you look at the sport from an outside perspective, the boxing is very important. Usually, probably about 65-70% of the fight is boxing. But good kickers can do a lot of damage in the sport. There's some fighters from Europe now that are schooled in Thai boxing that are coming in that are devastating fighters, and their strength is their legs. So I think that you still have to be well-rounded. You'll never be a champion or a good fighter unless you have both.
Okay. Are you training professional kickboxers at TriStar Gym?
Yes, we have quite a few that train there. It's probably the most competitive gym in Canada for kickboxing. We have Angelo DeBella training there, Victor Vargotsky, who's a world champion. We have Eric Moore. We have several boxers as well. And so it's intense. When there's sparring sessions, they're at a very high level and the leather's flying.
I believe the Hilton brothers train at TriStar? Okay.
Yes, Alex Hilton has been training there for about 2 years now, I guess. And I spar with him quite regularly, just boxing. He doesn't like it when I throw kicks at him. And it's really done a lot for my boxing to spar with a guy of that level. Although he's a lighter weight division than I am, he's about 165 pounds, I'm more like 180. It's still tremendous sparring. This guy's literally got a head like a brick. He's a tenacious fighter. He doesn't like to do his running and his bag work and stuff. He just likes to come into the gym, put the gloves on, and go. And it's unbelievable. He's literally, lately he's been training like an animal. And he's got a few possible fights lined up in the fall. And I really feel sorry for his opponents because he's got a lot to give.
How's things been going for him lately? How's his career going?
Well, he as everyone knows, he got out of jail a couple of years ago, and resumed his boxing career. I think his two brothers had reached the pinnacle of their careers and were kind of having trouble getting back where they were. Alex, I think because he was out of the spotlight for quite a while, still maintained that energy and that mental fortitude. And he really, when he got back into the boxing, he was knocking everybody out, and he was really getting up there fast. Then he had a little setback. He was away for a little while. And now I've never seen him training like this. He's, he doesn't even have a fight signed yet, and he's training as if he had a fight in 3 weeks. It's incredible.
So is it mostly professional fighters then that come to TriStar?
Although there's a lot of professional fighters at TriStar, they make up a small minority of the members there. The majority of the people who take the martial arts, if I can use kickboxing as an example, don't compete. Probably 80 to 90% don't compete at all, whether it be amateur or professional. We have a full range of the types of people in there. We're starting to get more women in the martial arts. Recently we got a women's kickboxing course, which is really taking off. It's very popular. Also in the karate, there's quite a few women, the aikibudo. So as well as the kids in the karate, we take them as young as 8 years old, and there's quite a few kids from about 8 to 12 years old. We also have guys in their 40s and 50s training martial arts, something different to do. People are fed up with pumping weights all the time, doing aerobics courses. They want to do something that's fun. They want to exercise, but they want to have fun at the same time. And that's what we offer at our place.
So they have fun in their training?
Yeah, they do. Believe it or not, martial arts training is a lot of fun. One good thing about our place is you can take it as far as you like. If you want to compete at a high level, you can do that. If you want to do it just for fun, to keep in shape and whack the bag a little bit, or do some martial arts techniques on the mats, that's fine too. So we can accommodate from the real beginner, a person who's never done anything before in their lives, all the way up to the professionals who are competing at the international level.
So if people want to check out TriStar Gym, how can they do that?
Well, we're in the phone book, in the yellow pages under martial arts. If people want to phone for information, the telephone number is 343-0148. We're located on Jean Talon, pretty close to Décarie, near a metro. We have ample parking, and they can phone, get information, come see a course, or even try a course if they like, and then take it from there.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week.